Here are the altcoins I'm bullish and bearish on for the 2025 crypto bull run. We're going to go through a tier list in this video where I'm going to show you the coins I'm still interested in, still own, or some of the coins I'm losing interested in, or even the ones I have sold. Importantly, these are all coins I've spoken about a few times on this channel over the years. Now, you can consider this video a transparency update. I try to keep you guys updated when I do buy and sell tokens, and of course you will get more frequent updates in the private community. However, this is going to be a level in which we are all on a very equal playing field. So if you like the transparency update, and if you like the fact that I want you to succeed and understand my logic and my thinking in this market, hit that like button. Of course, make sure you are subscribed, and with that said, let's begin. So, there's a lot to cover in this video, but I must make this very important point first of all. If you are someone who's brand new to crypto, or especially if you are someone who's coming to crypto and are new from traditional markets, so you own bonds and stocks and all the rest of it, crypto is a very fast-paced market. It is not something you would want to look at over the course of years. I mean, unless it's Bitcoin, for example. So some of these coins that I've spoken about in the past that I may have owned for a period of time, whether it's 1 month, 2 months, 6 months, or even sometimes 2 or 3 years, sold and have moved that into a coin that to some people might make no sense, is all done because it's all to just chase the next pump. Sometimes you make a good move, sometimes you don't. And that being said as well, you should never look to invest in crypto and expect your whole portfolio to do well. Some coins will make you a lot of money, some coins will do just fine, and some coins will not make you any money and actually lose you money. So before we get into the actual altcoins and the tier list itself, again, I'm going to go over the ones I'm still interested in, the ones I'm losing interest in, the ones that are okay, and the ones I've sold, and again, all the rest of it. I've got to say, another important lesson here is that a lot of people I'm noticing in the comments as well are like, Kyron, but altcoins aren't going up right now. You're making these bullish altcoin videos, but altcoins aren't moving. What the heck's going on? All I've got to say is, guys, just understand that dips come and dips go. Pumps come and pumps go. It's how a market breathes. If you have a massive shoot in one direction, it's going to go the other direction just as quickly. If you're someone who literally looks at the day to day, altcoins are up 3% today, altcoins are down 3% tomorrow, then I'm sorry, but you are someone who is literally designed to be exit liquidity. It's not what you want to hear. It's tough love, but I'm here to provide you, again, transparency. Please change your way of thinking if you think day to day. It is a very bad mindset because when these coins pump, you are going to be someone who's going to be thinking, hey, I'm up 10%. Tomorrow I'm up 20%. You're not going to be thinking about, hey, the next week or the next month or the next 3 months. This market's going to go down. How can I prepare to take some profits for when that happens? But I digress. This chart here, which shows a great expanding wedge for altcoins, does look quite bullish to me as of right now. And I do expect us to be eyeing off this neckline resistance level in red over here for the next altcoin push, so long as Bitcoin continues at the rate it is. Now, this chart down here is the SSRO for altcoins. It's stablecoins versus altcoins. And when this chart contracts, so it goes beneath this midline here in pink, that means that stablecoins have a stronger market share versus altcoins. And why this is important is because in moments like this, when altcoins are down, being in this zone is actually a good thing, because this means when we decide to move up, and when Bitcoin continues trending up, as I'm going to show you here in just a moment, and altcoins gain the strength to also follow Bitcoin, we're going to have the stablecoin market cap here actually help us have a blow-off top moment, which is, of course, very, very good. So it's kind of like a spring. When this comes down, okay, down here, when altcoin market cap is in the dumps, it's actually a good thing because once we move up with confidence, it helps us send prices much higher. So we're in a good position right now regarding the stablecoin versus altcoin market cap, the SSRO. If you are someone impatient thinking day to day, look at this chart. This is the chart that shows when Bitcoin breaks out of a downtrend. So we were in a downtrend, of course, back over here, downtrend, back over here, and downtrend recently as well. And when we see these bands here, the yellow is the 50-day EMA, orange is the 100-day EMA, and the red is the 200-day EMA, which I do talk about quite a bit on the Bitcoin cycle clock I've created. once these bands come in and contract, there is an explosive move that does happen. And we're experiencing that explosive move right now, which happens to coincide with a breakout of the downtrend, which we've experienced over here and over here. So all I'm trying to say is the move we're experiencing right now is the same or akin to back over here and over here. And why that's important is because this sort of lighter colored candlestick chart down the bottom is actually altcoins market dominance. And you'll notice that once Bitcoin breaks out of these downtrends and once we experience these moving averages contract and explode again, like we're experiencing right now, what happens is altcoins initially lose dominance. It loses market share. Same with over here. You can see Bitcoin breaks out. It goes from like $60,000 up to $72,000, so a large push. And again, altcoins actually lose strength, lose dominance. It's only until Bitcoin confirms that move with a massive push where we have altcoins actually, gain a lot of dominance back. So all this is to say, we need Bitcoin to confirm a bullish move, and alts kind of go, hey, Bitcoin's moving up here. Looks like we're on. Let's start pumping. And it makes sense. When people start making money in Bitcoin, they throw that money into altcoins. And you also have people like me and you who've been maybe possibly not throwing all of our money into the market thinking, hey, I better FOMO buy in, I better get into altcoins. Now, I'm not saying we should do that. I'm just using it as an example. This is how most people tend to think. I've done enough waffling, and as you can see, when I make these videos, guys, I don't like to do what other people do and like share maybe 5 or 10 of the coins behind me and leave you on a massive cliffhanger. I like to give you my thoughts on all of the coins. I have to be quite quick because if I spoke about 60 coins for a minute each, that's 60 minutes. So please forgive me in advance for maybe skipping through or not being as detailed with some of the coins. If you want to learn more about why I think I've sold a coin or I'm still interested in a coin and I haven't given you a clear enough explanation, let me know down below. Now, let's start off here with Ondo. Ondo, of course, still interesting to me. This coin, no doubt, is going to do wonderful things, not just in this cycle, but the next. Again, not financial advice, right? But don't think in terms of years with crypto. You should think in one cycle to the next. If there's one coin you're going to think like multi-year or decades in, it's obviously going to be Bitcoin. Near Protocol, of course, still interesting to me. These guys have slowed down a little bit recently, but I still do think being an AI-focused project, they know that that's the best suit for a layer one, which is what they are for this cycle. So big ups. Of course, Injective hits like 10 different narratives, all top tier narratives. I spoke with a lot of founders recently this last week in Dubai, and they're all focused on AI, real world assets, layer one, DeFi, or some combination of this. And of course, Injective hits all of those. Hedera is right behind Injective for, again, a very still interesting coin. I actually sold this coin. Like maybe I held onto this coin for like 2-3 years. It's always been like my number one highly convicted project. But like I said, I can have conviction in a coin for the long term, but if it's not going to make me money in the short term, I don't care. I'm not worried. I'm here to make money, not friends, not fall in love with coins. And at one moment, I've thought that maybe HBAR wouldn't have been a sexy coin for this bull run, but as we saw, Dino coins got really interesting all of a sudden thanks to XRP, and of course HBAR shot up, in addition to some possible news that one of their board members might actually be the new chairman of the SEC, and this helped propel HBAR up an 8x. Unfortunately, I sold most of my positions about 2 weeks before this actually happened. So I got really unlucky with the timing on that, but I did move the money into Ondo, into Render, and into some other strong coins. So in my opinion, it's not a bad move unless the end of the bull run comes around and the coins I traded HBAR into end up flopping, which I doubt, but again, I still love HBAR. Very, very good coin. The next coin here is Chainlink, and I don't own this coin, but to me, it's like an S plus tier coin. The reason I don't own it is because I didn't get a good entry. I'm not going to buy a coin that isn't going to allow me to achieve my ROI. Now, over the course of my crypto journey, I've obviously made a lot more money than what I started with. And so if I had the money I had now, as I did when I first sort of started, maybe even a few years ago, I would have, of course, purchased Chainlink because I'm not looking for a 20 or a 30x anymore. I've been able to branch that or bring that way down thanks to the fact that I've compounded my returns. So, Chainlink's a viable option for me now, but I've exhausted all of my capital at the moment, so I can't buy it. But again, strong coin for the long term and for this cycle. ICP, of course, it's still an interesting coin. I still own this coin. I think the tech's great. biggest R&D team in the space. And again, I think the technology speaks for itself. All they're lacking is an ecosystem, but they do have quite a good community surrounding them at the moment. Same thing with Render as well, kind of like with RCP. This coin's great technology. It's got a great application. They're now diving more into AI. They recently had RenderCon. They're very well connected with NVIDIA, and NVIDIA's actually kind of like stopped any more crypto partnerships. So these guys are already in the door, actually the same as Flux. This is why I'm going to put Flux in very interested still, and I own Flux, because both of these coins have a unique relationship with NVIDIA in which new crypto companies can no longer get. Plume, of course, is a kind of like an Ondo Finance, but it's not quite Ondo. It's like basically a great multiplier in the RWA space. And I think Ondo can give us some pretty good returns, by the way, but Plume is just a smaller market cap coin. It's a layer one focused on, again, bringing on real world assets into crypto, focusing on commercial RWA and also retail RWA. So I own Plume as well. I also own ASI, otherwise known as FET, and this is sort of like an alliance between, I think, 4 different projects. So it's Fetch AI, Singularity Net Ocean Protocol, and I can't think of the other one for some reason. Anyway, there's 4 of them in this alliance. Great coin, and leaders in AI, I do think, truly could be competitors to the traditional AI players as well. Sui is very, very interesting. I actually attended the Sui base camp here in Dubai over the last couple of days, and I've got to say what these guys are building is insane. They have some of the best backers as well. I'm not talking about VCs. I'm talking about influencers. We're all pulling others. This is just going to help, gain more market share because, of course, mind share is very important. The next coin here is Mantra. Now, I've never owned the coin, but safe to say I would never buy the coin. Of course, buying Mantra right now is essentially buying a meme coin. And the reason is because the meme in this case is the fact that Mantra, if it goes back to the previous highs, it's going to like 1000x. Understand that people in crypto especially take scams very seriously and take reputation very seriously. And if you've destroyed the reputation, I think these guys burnt a bunch of tokens to try to revitalize, sentiment. It's just too late. It's just too late. So I would never look into it at the moment. And, obviously, there's my warning about the coin. Celestia is one that I own myself. I am losing interest in this coin. The reason why is not because of anything about the coin or the team or tokenomics, none of that sort of stuff. I'm just losing interest because this coin is in a narrative that's kind of not really the main focus of the bull run so far. Do I think it goes up? Yes. Am I going to sell the coin in the foreseeable future? Absolutely not. However, again, it's in modularity. It's in layer 2s. It's in narratives that aren't as sexy as real-world assets, AI agents, layer 1, and so on. From when I first started talking about the coin, it was hot, it had potential, and so on. Now, again, my multiples and my predictions have lowered for this coin just simply, again, because it is not the primal focus of this bull run. Flare is an absolute, I think, hidden gem in regards to the layer 1 coins. I'll say right now, this coin's like doing everything that a layer 1 and its ecosystem applications would do, but all in the layer 1 itself. So high potential here for Flare, great coin. IMX is, I think, it's still an interesting coin. I don't own it personally. I kind of bought it, made some money on it, sold it. But I do think that, of course, it has its place in the gaming area, and it's right next to Beam, which actually I just realized I don't have Beam on this list. It would be still interesting. But essentially, it's right next to Beam in terms of like the only gaming coins I would really own because it's infrastructure and it's much safer than buying an individual gaming coin. That's why I would put Illuvium in losing interest, or maybe even possibly meh. I think losing interest right now is okay. And the reason why is because it's just an individual project focusing on essentially one game. There's multiple games in Illuvium, but it's not as safe in my mind as a coin like IMX. I still think it'll go up. I still think it will do well. It's just really when you compare it with, like another gaming coin like IMX or Beam, it's again not as safe. Okay, so just understand that's the distinction I'm making here. Now, what about Pith? Well, a lot of you guys are asking about this coin. I still own a lot of it. Okay, so one of my largest holdings, and I think in DeFi oracles, it's going to do quite well. Okay, it's a competitor to Chainlink in regards to an oracle standpoint. But it's mainly focused on Solana. Okay, it's got over $1 trillion in total value, I think, transferred or secured. It's got a lot of interesting statistics. So it's being used. So this coin, in my opinion, is still interesting. Wormhole is much as with Pith. It's one of my top holding coins. It's got partnership with Securitize. It's branching the Build Fund cross-chain. So it's working with essentially BlackRock in some sort of way, shape, or form. And I do think it's got a lot of potential. There are some, weak points with Wormhole in terms of it's been hacked years ago. And it's got a great competitor, which is Layer Zero, which, again, I don't actually have on this list either. It would be still interesting as well. But again, it's definitely a hedge into RWA and interoperability as well. Now, Algorand, I think, is a still interesting coin. I don't speak about it much anymore, but it's definitely up there. I actually did speak about why I sold this coin about a year ago. And the reason was because I did feel like there was stronger plays at the time, but there is a strong community around Algorand these days. So I do think it is a still interesting coin. Again, great Web 2 connections. Let's not, deny that. But it's retail. It's the community in crypto that makes a coin pump. So, but again, Algorand has that. Multiverse X is pretty meh these days. Great tech, strong community. However, it's just not pumping. It is just not alive. And I can't for the life of me explain to you why. It's not just me as well. I was speaking with even Multiverse X enthusiasts. Okay, and they don't understand why it's not pumping. And so I can't give you a solid reason. Again, good community, great interface. Like, it's a very usable product, but it's just not pumping. So I don't want to discount it though. However, it's important to mention. The next one here is Polkadot, and I am realizing I'm running out of time, so I'm going to run through these very, very quickly here. I do think DOT is very interesting. They have a massive update called Jam coming out that'll hopefully revitalize the network. I wouldn't hedge into it necessarily speaking, but I do think the long term here is very, very viable. Solana, in my opinion, is pretty meh. Don't hate me for saying that. I just think the upside from here is minimal. And if there is some there, again, I just think that Solana really had a massive craze thanks to the meme coins that really helped push it up. So I worry if that doesn't come back to some degree, will Solana go up to the multiples people want, which is, I think, plus $1,000. I think anything under $1,000 is realistic. My personal predictions for Solana is about $650. Mina is a coin, again, I love, and I haven't really spoken too much about. I still own the coin. I think it is very interesting. However, if they don't branch into like RWA and some of your other massive narratives, and I do think it will end up falling down into losing interest. For this bull run, ZKPs isn't enough of a narrative to, I think draw in massive crowds. Again, it's a bull market. These coins will all go up. The next coin is Quant. In my opinion, this coin is losing interest for me. I don't own it anymore. It was once like my second highest holding in crypto. They did a few things that I think really discouraged the long-term, holders. And so I look at that. I look at like what long-term holders and their sort of sentiment is. And if they start losing interest, then again, I start to take notice. But again, great Web 2 connections. I think this coin is going to dominate the world right next to Chainlink. However, again, community is number one in crypto, and I think these guys aren't as strong as a coin like Chainlink in that regard. XLM is a great coin in my opinion. XRP, I've never really had much interest. I'm going to put it in losing interest because I am worried about the backlash. I'm just kidding. I'm going to put it in meh because that's the full honesty. I think the coin is great, but the upside for this cycle, I don't know. I see too many people putting their price predictions for XRP in the $10 to $15 range. That worries me. Can it get there on the back of good news? Probably, especially with these ETFs coming out. Great stuff's happening, but I don't know. It worries me, right? It worries me. Next, we have Cardano. I think this coin is actually going to probably gain a little more interest in this cycle. Some of you guys are like, what's he doing putting XRP in meh? Cardano when still interesting. That's just my thoughts, No hate if you do hold one over the next. It's my thoughts. XDC, I do think losing interest. It's a great coin. Don't get me wrong. It's, trade finance is a very, very, very big market. But again, is it attracting the crypto community? I know some big guys interested in this coin, but it's just kind of been off my radar recently. So we'll see. But it is in RWA, so that might make a good comeback for the coin as well. Nillion is still interesting to me as well. It's a newer coin. I don't think it's launched quite yet. Casper, I definitely wouldn't touch this coin. The way that the founder of Casper treated its community by essentially saying to the community, F off, we don't need you. That's despicable to me. You never want to do that to a community for retail, and that's going to disincentivize new investors. It's just basic crypto investing 101 in my opinion. I've been very disappointed as well with Atom. Very disappointed. I had high hopes before the real bull run started. I made my fair share of videos on this coin, but it's just really, really lacking so far. So I sold my Atom, and I don't think I'll be buying Atom back. Again, I'm sorry if you are an Atom holder. This is no offense to you, of course. And the same goes for all the layer 2 coins. Just like Celestia, I'm losing interest in these coins, guys. You know, I think out of all these coins, Arbitrum and Optimism are better possible plays than Matic, but they're all layer 2s, and layer 2s once had the big buzz, but have been losing it a little bit recently. Do I think it can make a comeback? Absolutely. And again, all these coins will still go up. Even Mantra will still go up, right? But I'm thinking about like the coins that will do the best and will serve people the best in terms of risk and reward, but also multiples. I've never been interested in Casper, by the way, and I know I've gotten a lot of hate over the years with Casper. I had the co-founder of Casper comment on one of my videos talking about why I think Casper is a good coin in terms of could produce some decent multiples because there's a community there, but also about, you know, attacking some of the technical aspects of the coin in the sense of it doesn't have a smart contract layer like, you know, Ethereum does and other, you know, layer ones do. And I got attacked for it. And then 6 months later, he comes out and says to everyone, hey, we're launching smart contracts on Casper. And I was actually berated by the Casper community saying, we don't need smart contracts to do well. So I think that's a bit more personal with me. Again, excuse me if you are a Casper lover and a Casper holder. It's a personal thing with me. Not interested in the coin, sorry, because of that. It's, again, not how you should treat people that provide honest feedback, right? Jasmine is never a coin I've really been that interested in either. I saw potential there. Coin did quite well, but I did make an important point in those videos where I did mention it all those years ago that I don't see long-term viability in the coin. Moonbeam, I was a really big Moonbeam fan, as I was a big Polkadot fan back when I first started crypto YouTube. And but I think Moonbeam has kind of ebbed and flowed with the interest over time. I actually think it is still interesting at this point, and so I'll put it up there. Moonwell, I still think is interesting as well. You know, DeFi on base, you can't go wrong with that. Now, Moon River is like the smaller sister of Moonwell, but I don't think it has the same amount of buzz. This is built on Kusama, which is actually the next coin, rather than being built on Polkadot like Moonwell is. But I still think there is, you know, something to say about the coin doing well. It has a better tokenomic structure, I do think, to incentivize people to come in. Basically, it has a lower float. I'll definitely put it in losing interest, but maybe even possibly meh, because I don't think there has been that much interest for too long for me, at least. Kusama, I'm going to put in meh as well. I think Polkadot's just a better project in general. Stacks is an interesting one. These guys were partnered up recently here with Sui, and I do think Stacks is taking a very big market, focusing on like a layer 2 for Bitcoin. So I'm going to put this in still interesting, but I don't really talk about it too much. Same goes for IOTA. It's still a very interesting coin here. Can't deny what they're doing is going to actually be applicable in Web 2. And I'm noticing there's a resurgence in IOTA for a crypto community as well. Aave is still interesting, big community behind Aave. You know, Cadena is a coin here, very similar to Casper. I always kind of liked Cadena more than Casper, but I don't think it's going to see the same gains as it did in the previous cycle because this coin kind of captivated the whole market very quickly. It was like the coin of like a whole entire month. So I do think if you are in this coin, be cautious of expecting the coin to go higher than its previous all-time high. Non-financial advice, of course. But I do think right now the coin has me losing interest. Now, PokerStarter is a launchpad. I don't think that launchpads have the same buzz as they did in the previous cycle. So I'm going to put this coin in meh, but I do think with a resurgence in AI agents and also gaming, these launchpads will likely focus on AI agents and gaming coins the most, and there could be a buzz around that time. So we'll see when that comes around. AVAX still an interesting coin to me, and Gala I'm honestly losing interest in. In my opinion, much better plays are, for gaming, Superverse, IMX, and also Beam. I think Gala is just trying to do too much. They have Gala music, they have Gala films, it's like Gala games as well. Like, just focus on one thing and do that really, really well. But what do I know? Maybe they have a big partnership with like Hollywood with the film department, and that creates a buzz at some point in time. I'm not an oracle, right? This is just my thoughts on the current coins at this time. Anything can change. Like I said, even tomorrow, after I post this video, Gala might be one of my favorite coins because of a reason. Okay, so I understand crypto moves quickly, These are my current thoughts that can be subject to change very, very quickly. So make sure if you are invested in this market to subscribe to this channel, because I'm going to keep you guys informed, and it's very important to hit that bell as well, because like I said, this stuff moves very quickly. So you want to know when videos have been published. Thanks so much for watching right to the very end. Let me know you have made it this far with a like. I really appreciate that. My throat is dry as hell right now, so it would also appreciate a like on this video, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.